Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that can absolutely change a workplace for the better: human performance management, or HPM. We're going to talk about how we can finally move past that dreaded annual review and build a system that's actually about fueling real, continuous growth for everybody. So let's jump right in. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First up, we'll look at that big shift from old school reviews to a growth mindset. Then, we'll really break down the modern HPM framework and its 6-stage cycle. After that, we'll see what HPM looks like in the real world. And finally, we'll talk about the challenges and what's next for the future.
All right, let's start with the big picture, the fundamental shift in how we think about performance. We're talking about leaving behind a system that mostly just looks in the rearview mirror to judge what's already happened, and instead, embracing one that's all about paving the road ahead for future potential.
Oh, I'm sure it does. You know the one. That super formal, kind of stressful meeting where your manager tries to sum up your entire year's worth of work in about 60 minutes. For the longest time, that was performance management. It was rare, it often felt like you were getting a grade, and it was totally disconnected from what you were doing day to day. This table just lays it all out so clearly, right? The difference is night and day. The old way was all about a manager-driven, yearly judgment of the past, but modern HPM? Well, it's an ongoing, collaborative conversation focused on one thing: continuous growth. It's not about judging you, it's about developing you. See how ownership becomes shared? And the whole purpose shifts from just evaluation to making sure everyone is growing and aligned with the mission. Okay, so what exactly is this modern framework? Let's get into the nuts and bolts. We're going to define what it is, what it's trying to achieve, and the core principles that really make it tick. At its heart, HPM is a strategic system, and the key word here is continuous. It's designed to do two really important things at the same time. First, make sure the work you do actually helps the company succeed, and second, make sure you're growing and developing professionally. It's all about connecting your personal effort to that bigger picture. And look at this, it's a two-way street. For the company, HPM helps align everyone to the strategy and makes things run better. But for the employee, it brings so much clarity to your role, helps you see where you can grow, and, just makes you happier and more motivated at your job. When it's done right, it's a true win-win. Now, these are basically the ground rules that make the whole system fair and effective. Everything has to be aligned, from your goals all the way up to the company's mission. The process needs to be crystal clear, objective, and transparent. No secret grading rubrics. But maybe most importantly, it demands active participation and continuous feedback. This isn't something that's just done to you, it's a process you are an active part of.
All right, let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine room. The HPM cycle is the practical, step-by-step process that actually brings all these ideas and principles to life.
So here it is, the 6-stage HPM cycle. The most important thing to see here is that this is not a straight line with a beginning and an end. It's a continuous loop. What you learn in stage 6 feeds right back into the planning for the next cycle. That's what creates this powerful, ongoing engine for growth.
And it all kicks off with planning. This is the foundation. It's where managers and employees sit down together to define what success looks like. Getting this alignment right at the beginning is crucial because it ensures everyone is on the same page, rowing in the same direction from day one.
And how do you set great goals? Well, the gold standard is the SMART framework. Using this makes sure that goals aren't just vague wishes. They have to be specific, measurable, truly achievable, relevant to the big picture, and locked into a time-bound deadline. This framework just strips away all the ambiguity and gives everyone a clear target to shoot for.
Okay, so the next 3 stages, monitoring, measuring, and reviewing, they all kind of blend together into one continuous flow. This is the heart of that ongoing conversation we keep talking about. It's the check-ins, the data gathering, and the real-time feedback that make sure there are absolutely no surprises at the end of the year. The dialogue is constant. And finally, the cycle lands on development and rewards. All that feedback and data points to one thing: growth. So what training, coaching, or new projects can help an employee get even better? And of course, a fair system has to connect great performance to meaningful rewards and recognition. That's what provides the fuel and motivation to start the whole awesome cycle all over again. So, we have the engine, we have the cycle, but what does this look like day to day? Who's in the driver's seat? Let's take a look at HPM in action and explore some of the specific methods people use and the really important roles that everyone has to play. One of the most powerful tools in the modern HPM toolkit is 360-degree feedback. Think about it. Instead of just hearing from your manager, you get this well-rounded view from everyone you work with, your peers, people who report to you, maybe even customers. This can be incredible for uncovering blind spots and painting a much more complete and honest picture of your impact. Another fantastic tool is the balanced scorecard. It's a strategic way to connect what you do every day to the company's highest level goals by looking at performance from 4 different angles. Why these 4? Because they create, well, balance. You've got financials, sure, but you're also asking, are our customers happy and are internal processes actually efficient? And crucially, are we learning and growing for the future? It's this holistic view that prevents tunnel vision and drives real progress. In this new world, the manager's role totally transforms. They go from being a judge to being a coach. Their number one job is to provide clarity, to be there with constant support and feedback, and to be a champion for their team's development, all while making absolutely sure the process is fair and objective for everyone. And this is just as huge. The employee isn't just a passenger on this ride. You're in the driver's seat of your own career. Your job is to take ownership of your goals, to be proactive and actually ask for feedback instead of waiting for it, and to really engage with your own development. It is a true partnership. Now, this all sounds pretty amazing, but let's be real. Making this switch isn't always a walk in the park. So let's wrap up by looking at some of the common hurdles organizations face, and then we'll peek into the future of HPM. Yeah, to do HPM right, you've got to navigate these classic tripwires. Things like fuzzy goals, unconscious bias from managers, or feedback that just isn't helpful can really derail the whole thing. Honestly, the biggest hurdle is often just cultural resistance to change. Overcoming that almost always comes down to having leaders who are 100% committed and communicate clearly and constantly. Knowing these pitfalls is the first step to avoiding them. And looking ahead, well, HPM is only getting more dynamic. Technology is making real-time feedback through apps a reality. We're seeing more data analytics to help remove bias and spot trends. And thankfully, there's a much bigger focus on how performance is tied to employee well-being. The future is definitely more agile, it's smarter, and it's a lot more human. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Whether it's your current workplace or one from your past, ask yourself, is the system you know just a tool for judgment? Or is it truly an engine designed from the ground up to fuel continuous, collaborative growth for everyone? And that's our deep dive into human performance management. I really hope you found it valuable. If you got something out of this explainer, do me a favor and hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks so much for joining us.